Hello, we're live and we're going to talk about LinkedIn today. Let me get our guests really quick, but before I do, I just want to say I used to think that LinkedIn was kind of out of date, maybe stuffy, and I didn't think it was for, an artistic, out of the box, hip woman like myself. So I've been recently learning that LinkedIn is a lot more poppin' than you probably thought it was. I can't be an expert in everything, so I brought somebody on who knows a lot more about LinkedIn than I do. So I'm gonna have career launch mentor, aka Floyd Spencer, on. So we will get him on there. Let's see. Okay, so while he is getting all hooked up, I do want to say that LinkedIn has worked really well. Hi, Floyd. How are you?
Hey, good. Let me turn it up so I can hear you. There you go.
Okay.
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thanks for your time and for being here. I'm really excited. I was just saying, I used to think that LinkedIn was kind of stuffy, and I've recently changed my mind. I think that it can be a really great platform, and I've had success on it. And I had a couple of my clients that all they did, and all I do, honestly, for me, is I just take my reels and I repost them on LinkedIn. And so one of my clients last month, they got 350 monthly impressions just on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I got 433 impressions just in 1 week on LinkedIn. And then my other client, you got 1,500 impressions in the last 30 days on LinkedIn. So what I always strive to do is, I always am trying to get better and learn more. And I
hmm
know that I have to call in other people sometimes, but I always want to share, like bring back what I learned with my audience. So let me see. I did have some notes. I'm trying to sort of be a little bit organized. So
Okay.
yeah, career launch mentor is Floyd. I hear him all the time say, I love how your slogan is land your dream job without selling your soul. So as the name might imply, Floyd is a career coach. And what I love about Floyd's advice is that he doesn't want, like, yeah, you can just get a job, sure, that's great, but he really wants to focus on building career foundations. So Floyd is really great, like big picture and strategy, thinking about how to write your resume and what positions to get and what jobs to get. So that way, when you're 10, 20, 30 years down the road, when you're at retirement, you have something, and something that's worthwhile that doesn't sacrifice your values and your goals. So I really appreciate that approach, Floyd. And for anybody who doesn't know, I called Floyd back in 2017 when I was a recently single mom living in my friend's basement. And I was like, what do I do with my life? I'm suddenly responsible for everything. I was terrified. And I called Floyd and I go, what should I do? I mean, like, I have a bachelor's degree. Should I get a master's degree? Like, what should I do? And that was the first time I ever heard the term serial entrepreneur, because Floyd was like, Sarah, you're so cool. You're a serial entrepreneur. And he just gave me like the best pep talk. And through the years, Floyd's been a really good mentor to me, you know, changing my resumes, and just being a good cheerleader. I've had to have some really hard conversations with bosses back when I had
hmm
bosses
Yeah.
about salary negotiations, and Floyd is a great sounding board for that. So yeah, that's the background story between me and Floyd and what we do. And basically, I just kind of have some questions about LinkedIn. But before we get into it, do you have anything you wanted to say before I kind of ask you a couple of questions, Floyd?
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me to join you on this thing because I'm learning just like you are. And I have to say that also to plug Sarah because she is my social media manager. So in that way, I wouldn't be where I am today from a social media presence without her. So this is a ideal collaboration. So thank you for that.
You bet.
And then just to remind everybody, because you kind of slightly, well, you didn't gloss over it, but you didn't highlight it. You were the one that did the hard work, and you were the one that had to have those conversations that were hard, and you were the person that had to go through this discovery process, and in the end you had to put yourself out there. So yes, we bounced ideas around and we were clear about what would likely happen, but I wanted to be also clear, if you're not willing to do the work, you never get anywhere. And it's clear from where you are now compared to where you were in 2017
Yeah.
that we've figured out a good path for you, and you've done the work to get there. So I wanted to be clear on that. So
That's 7 years ago. That feels so long ago, but like, these small, all this work has like really far-reaching implications. So that's just, it doesn't seem that long ago, but 7 years sounds like a long time ago. So yeah,
well, and
it's been a while.
so, to that point, right? Back in 2017, I think we were essentially just working at a company, and you were saying, "Hey, I want to do something better. I want to be a better, I want to bring more money for my daughter, and grow my family, and I have this long-term vision, but I can't just jump straight to that long-term vision. But so what's the first thing?" And that's what I do. That's kind of, I guess, maybe unique is I'm listening. I was listening to Sarah. I wasn't listening to a client. I was listening to you as an individual. And I think that's what makes me unique as a coach is, yes, I have some methodologies that I follow, but in the end, I'm listening to you. And so anyway, I just wanted to remind everybody that if you want to make changes in your life, and you're right, I do believe that you should be able to land your dream job without selling your soul.
Yeah.
And so you can get there, but it takes work, but it also takes desire and a lot of grit and determination, and you can get there. I'm happy to help. But anyway, so that's my take on that.
Yeah.
I like the idea of what you were talking about LinkedIn, though, and we can head into that if you like. I have some thoughts on it, but from your perspective, what kind of questions do you have?
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is kind of selfish because I just wanted to pick your brain, and I was like, I bet other people need to benefit from this too. So now what I do is I basically take all my reels. Like I have an Instagram forward approach, so I make something on Instagram, and then I just auto post to several other platforms, LinkedIn being one of them. I'm not really on LinkedIn all that much, so I'm just wondering, what do you feel about that approach? And then if I was going to take it a step further, how would I do that?
Okay. Well, again, excellent question. So the first thing to keep in mind is that LinkedIn is a social media platform. The only difference is that it's a social media platform for business people or your business persona. So, Instagram and TikTok and even old school Facebook is social media for you as a person, as an individual, as a human, right? LinkedIn is a social media platform for your persona in the business world. And so they're similar in that they're both social media platforms. The only unique difference is that for LinkedIn, you are only representing your business persona. Now there's some overlap there that's starting to take place more and more while people are sharing their personal things. I disagree with it, but me disagreeing with it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But as a professional, if you are not on LinkedIn, you do not exist in the business world.
Yeah.
And that's harsh, but that's the reality.
Yeah. What if you're like maybe just starting your business, or what if you're like someone like me? Obviously, I want to get clients, but what if you're like a blogger, or like you do affiliate marketing and things like that? Maybe your audience, like you just want regular consumers to click on your links and buy what you're selling. I mean, is that something that you feel like LinkedIn would still support?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Do think about the idea that for LinkedIn, the audience wants something to help their professional growth as a professional, right? So, if you're on there selling, I don't know, some, drink, or I don't know, some weird thing, right? It probably isn't the ideal place, but for you as a social media manager, you are reaching out to the business side of somebody. Sure. So your product is something that they want to know and they want to be able to buy. Now, the other part of it is that as businessmen and women, they are looking for what they can gain professionally as an individual, but they also represent their companies. And if their company, maybe they're a marketing director or VP of marketing, and they're going, gosh, we are not doing our social media stuff right. We need somebody. Well, where do you think they're going to find them? If they find them on LinkedIn, there's an instant validation that you are legit in the business world, first of all, because you're there. And then they start to like you, and then they follow you, and then pretty soon they're going, hey, this is nuts. Why are we not asking this this social media manager to help us with this.
Right.
That's why you need that presence on there, because it's both professional as an individual and they're representing their company in many ways too.
Yeah. And I see that Rochelle and Addie are on the live, so thank you for being here. And anybody who's watching, feel free to ask any questions. I have some queued up, but if you have a burning question, I want to get to it. Okay, so I guess my question is, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about LinkedIn, unless you feel like you already covered that?
Well, so no, some of the biggest misconceptions is one of the biggest ones is it's for job seekers only, or it's just a place for your resume. And that's not true. It's not just for job seekers. In fact, if you don't have a presence on there before you need a job, then you're already behind. So it is for your professional presence. And just like you would brand yourself in your professional world, I mean, in like an Instagram world or a TikTok world or whatever, you want to brand yourself in the LinkedIn world too. So you identify who you are, you identify what your goals are as a professional, your next career perhaps, however you want to look at it, and you brand yourself as an expert in that. Right. So that's the first thing. It's not just for job seekers. The other is it's not really an online resume place. It is useful for recruiters do go and find you, and they find you based on keywords, just like any other system. They have access to a special side of the program where they plug in keywords and they look for somebody who matches all the keywords. So on the one hand, you would want to have all of your business details and keywords there that would get their attention. But you wouldn't be getting the attention of a recruiter so much as you'd be getting the attention of a professional who just wants to learn about social media. So it isn't just for job seekers, and it isn't just a resume. So that's the first misconception. The other misconception is people say connections should only be people you know. Well, how would we grow in any social media platform if we were only going for the people we know? So that is complete BS. That one, and I hear it a lot. I do know people who only accept people into their networks that they know. But again, you're just limiting yourself. And, is it worth going and just adding a ton of people? Ideally, so 500 is the number. Once you have 500 followers, then it doesn't show anymore. It just says you have 500 or more. Oh. So that's the number. Right. So on the one hand, you'd want to hit 500 as soon as you can, and whatever it takes to get there. But then you'd also want to be clear about the kind of people you're reaching out to. Now, and somebody like yourself, who do you reach out to? It's really hard to say. Marketing people would be ideal, right? And you can reach out to marketing people. But beyond that, it could be anybody who's interested in connecting with you. Yeah. So that's a big misconception, this idea that you have to know the connection. Throw that out right away, because you'd never go anywhere if you did that.
Sure.
There's one at a personal level, and I'm going to bring this up, and then I'm going to shoot it down.
Okay.
Endorsements and recommendations. So there's two terms. Endorsements means one thing, recommendations means another. An endorsement is a way for somebody to go in and say, you've identified certain skills that you have, like I would have leadership and development, for instance. An endorsement is somebody that's a connection of mine that goes and says, click, yes, check, Floyd has that. And so now I have one. And somebody else comes and said, yes, Floyd has leadership and development skills. I endorse that, check two. When you get 50, 100, whatever, and supposedly you're really good at it. Okay. That actually is useful.
Okay.
The other one.
Useful. Okay.
Yeah. But the other one is recommendations. And I am unusual, and I have about 50 recommendations that I've collected since I've been on LinkedIn. And they're all really great. In fact, if I ever feel depressed and I feel like I'm not making anything, I go back and read all the recommendations, because, they're legit and they're real. And recommendations, you would think, carry a lot of weight. Nobody cares. No recruiter has cared. Nobody cares. They actually care more about the endorsement, which is just a checkbox, than they do about the recommendations. So that's at an individual level. Again, that's the one thing I thought would be different, and it is. And then the last one is, and there's with any social media platform, you can spend money and get on a premium version of it, right? And LinkedIn has LinkedIn Premium. It's not super expensive per month, but it's more expensive than not paying it. So the question is, does LinkedIn Premium provide you value as a social media or as your business representative? And I would have to say that for early on, it does not. Now, there's some limitations by not having premium. If you don't have premium, you can't see who has looked at your profile more than 5 days ago. So, so that could be a thing. But other than that one thing, there's really not a benefit to having LinkedIn Premium. Once you have an extra, I think $39, then it would be useful because you get some other things. You get 50 messages that you can reach out to people for and some other things. And you get a little bit more insight and you can see who's looked at your profile, which becomes a lead magnet on one hand, and you can reach out to people that way. So if you have the money, it's worth it. As an individual who's looking to improve their career, it's worth it. But I just wanted to bring up that it's not necessary, it's just useful.
All right. So, okay, it sounds like for me, I'm not on there a lot. So it sounds like I need to work towards getting 500 connections, right?
Yes.
Okay, and some endorsements, which I don't think I have any.
Yeah.
So how do
And when you do it for that, you actually go and say, these are the skills I have. So you would go to someplace in the LinkedIn profile and say, social media management, or and it might even be it might even be that you could put in Instagram something or other, right? And so you can have as many of those as you want. I think you are limited to 50 of those. So you'd want to make the top 50. But anyway, yes, once you've identified them, people can endorse you on them.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So I can get to work on that. All right, let's see. One thing I was pretty proud of myself, is I do have a scheduling platform for myself. So what I did, because I have like my ebook that I'm trying to promote, and then I have, I'm trying to grow my email list. So I actually went into Canva and I designed a couple graphics that are, optimized for LinkedIn, more landscape orientation. And I just wrote some longer form posts about, promoting my lead magnet, which is like that Instagram bio makeover, and then promoting the ebook. So I scheduled those out, and I just figured, if I can do one a week of something like that, that seemed like maybe it's a step in the right direction. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. You're again, the people that will typically find you are connections. And that's not 100% correct, because just like in any social media platform, the platform itself is trying to present you out to the world. So whatever they're looking for. So having you at least there means that some other people are looking at you. The other thing, and this is what I do with yours, as much as I can, I like it, but then I need to get into the habit of sharing it more, meaning take your post, share it, and make a comment like, you got to check out Sarah, whatever. And so the more people you share, just like any social media platform, the more people sharing that,
Right.
the more views it gets. The other is, if I like it, every person in my network knows that I've liked it. And so they might want to go say, oh, okay, I wonder what it is that he liked, and go check it.
Okay, so it sounds like ideally, if I'm planning my content strategy and I have, the posts I'm going to post per week, it sounds like, I can make my reels on Instagram, but it's probably ideal to just kind of pivot the message on LinkedIn, just knowing that the people who are going to be seeing that are a lot more of like marketing people and business people. So changing the message a little bit, and not making it very personal, but just more like, here's how I can help your business.
Yeah, you would want to make it about the business. Now, I've already told everybody you're my social media manager. So you and I have done several reels that were business related, but were really funny, and some, me being in the pool a couple times,
I love that.
and telling dad jokes with Obi, and those get traction because people in the business world, just like anywhere else, they want to be entertained. And so having it be pure business related, that's fine. You have a little bit more time to catch somebody's attention in LinkedIn. I notice in Instagram, if you don't grab somebody's attention in the first 3 seconds or 4 seconds or something, you might get a like and they'll move on, but they won't really watch it.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit different on LinkedIn. If they see some sort of interesting thing, what's in it for me, they'll watch it longer. And so, yeah, it's nice to put in something personal once in a while. I mentioned earlier, the one thing that's really irritating me now are those people that are getting on and just really crying and complaining and just every personal thing in their life. Now, I get that somebody might have a health thing, and that's fine. And you want, if you want to bring it out to somebody's attention, that's fine. But some people are really taking it way out there, and it's like, okay, I don't want to read that. I can go on the news and read about people that are miserable and sad. If it's an inspiring thing, I like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you probably wouldn't want to share too much about that kind of stuff. But sharing some personal things is fine.
Yeah, I think I actually need to be more personal in the stuff that I share because, like you said earlier, that's what people want to watch, So I'm personally still kind of working on that balance with my own content about, people come to me to learn about Instagram, but I feel like there's a lot of potential in just like talking about lifestyle and like, I don't know, just trying to be inspirational, I guess. Because so many people are on there watching the funniest things, like the weirdest things. And I think that's just a good way to kind of just play into human nature and human attention. And like, ASMR videos, right? Like I'm not a makeup influencer or anything, so I probably won't do like those types of videos. But yeah, just working out that balance of personal versus professional. That's something I've been kind of still trying to figure out, honestly.
One thing that sells really well and gets a lot of attention on LinkedIn is the inspiring story. And so your story, just as you've told it many times, starting out at, in 2017 in the situation you were in, people will watch that and understand where you were.
Yeah.
But the inspiration comes from, this is what I did. And this is how I moved away from that. And that's where people will watch and be more interested because they see the end result story.
Right.
So nothing wrong with, talking about some stuff that happened in the past, but spin it from an inspirational perspective so that they know I'm going to get some useful inspiration out of this, not a sob story.
That's the same with all platforms, honestly.
Okay.
I think that's just people. I just, yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to hear a long sob story. I don't think in any platform anybody would want that. So, but I'd say that's a good reminder. I think it's good to talk about, like on your website, it says grow through what you go through. So, I mean, telling those stories. I just went to a workshop on Friday that was all about stories and weaving stories into your marketing materials. So I'm definitely trying to lean more into that.
Yeah, that's a key. That's the key with anything. And from a coaching perspective, that's all I'm doing is I'm trying to understand. I want to understand your story,
Right.
and we craft this narrative that benefits the job seeker and those who want to improve their career, and that becomes what we build our brand around.
Right.
And from a LinkedIn perspective, we tell a story. And again, that's clearly in the branding of the individual. I kept forgetting to say, I was going to say, I've been watching all the videos that you do and bring to LinkedIn, and the colors and the things that you've chosen. I think they're in line with the rest of, you're reposting what you've done on Instagram and other platforms, but it really is compelling and selling on LinkedIn. As a LinkedIn viewer, yes, we're connected, but it's the kind of colors and the movement and the stories that would compel me to stop and watch that for a while.
Okay.
So I think you are on point with the branding approach that you're taking with LinkedIn. And I think you just have to get more and more and more people,
Yeah.
more and more and more network connections. is what you need
Gotta
to
get
do.
more connections. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Welcome, Annalise. Thanks for coming to our live. We're talking about LinkedIn. If you have questions, pop them in there. One thing I was really surprised to learn from you, Floyd, is that if you put the open to work banner on, then you
Yeah.
come off really desperate. And I wasn't sure what to do about this because when I first started my business, I was really desperate to get clients and I was going to do anything. And for a while, I was like, well, maybe I will try to find brands to work with where like I'll make videos for them, like user generated content, right? So it will be me making them and using their products, right? So that's a whole subsection in media, social media management creators and stuff. So I put the open to work banner on mine, even though I'm not hiring or like I'm not looking for a traditional job. And then after talking to you, I was like, well, shoot, I better take that down. I'm not
Yeah.
desperate. So tell people what that means when they put that banner up and what they should do instead.
Gotcha. So yeah, this is kind of a controversial topic. Of course, this was back during COVID, and a lot of people were gone and let go and stuff, and it's gotten worse the last year or so. And so what LinkedIn said was, hey, let's create a way for other people to identify those who are looking for a job, and makes it obvious as you're scrolling through your friends and you see the face and the profile, right? And a little banner around it that's hashtag open to work. And it's in green and it's just at the bottom. And you just kind of right around here, you know. And as you look at that as a viewer, uh, sorry, as the individual who posted it, you're thinking like you are, I'm just letting everybody know I'm
Right.
needing work. Well, what it has evolved to is exactly the opposite, which is this person is desperate and they're desperate to look for a job and they're desperate that they need a job. And it's probably fatigue just having seen it so much. But anyway, the gut feeling is that most people are feeling that it's having the opposite effect. I don't want to feel sorry for you. Therefore, I'm going to avoid your open to work profile because I just don't want to feel bad. And so they avoid it. Now, the other downside, and this is huge, then there's two ways you can set the open to work banner. There's a secret open to work banner that you can check. And that is just telling all of the recruiters that you're open to work, but it doesn't put the open to work banner on. It just lets the recruiters know. And it's pretty clear how to do that. The other thing is if you put open to work banner on it for your profile, that's the one that puts the green little half moon thing on it. And that is then associated to your profile and coaches and resume writers and scammers and cheaters and just loads and loads and loads of people are flooding these people's inboxes with, hey, I'm going to help you with this and I want to help you do this and pay me this and I'll pay me that and I'll do this and do that for you. And they get so tired of that they turn the open to work banner off. So I had a client.
Yeah.
My client who just recently got a job, by the way, started working with me after like 6 months. Was off for like 6 months. He started to work with me day 91. He actually started his new job. So less than 3 months in this dumpster fire of a job market. Here's this guy finally is working again. So first of all, that. But anyway, his thing was he turned the open to work banner on, took a screenshot of it, his profile with the open to work banner on, turned the open to work banner off, and then edited that screenshot he took so that whole thing became his picture. So he just put that picture back on. And so what it is a picture that says open to work on it, but it doesn't have the back link to all of those other scamming people to bother you about, oh, hey, you should, I'm going to bother this guy. So it takes away the bothersome part of open to work, but leaves, because it's just a photo at that point, right? Yeah. So nothing related to that, to LinkedIn. Anyway, that changed, that made a big change for him. Yeah. People who really wanted to know, oh, he's really looking for work now. Okay, I went to his profile, I see he's open to work, fine. But he's not getting the scam emails and all that stuff. So that's a nice little hack that he taught me, and it worked for him. Yeah. So that might work. The other is you were talking about open to work from your perspective as looking for clients. And the viewer of open to work doesn't see you as a business first. They see you as a job seeker.
Got it.
And so it kind of had a different funny connotation.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And these are the things that, as a not LinkedIn expert, like I don't understand. I didn't get it. So that was good insider info
Yeah.
for sure. How often do you think people should be posting on LinkedIn?
Um, Probably 2 to 3 times a week. 2 times a week just to start, right? You could do that. Um, you know, what I started with was I'd find an article that I thought was interesting, and I would post it to LinkedIn with a short little bullet points, 2 or 3 sentences
Sure.
on, something like that, and some hashtags on there and everything. And that was just me saying, this is something that interests me. I thought you might like it.
Right.
And so I just started doing that a couple times a week, and it got to where I was probably doing it 3 times a week. And now I don't go consistently every day
Right.
to post something. I go every day to look, but I don't go every day to post something.
Right.
But now, because I've been doing this so long, I see the articles that will get people's attention,
Mm.
and you'll pick up on that too. It doesn't matter. Social media articles about how to improve your social media presence on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
post
Okay.
those.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So it seems like LinkedIn it's just better for kind of almost like blog posts, like mini blog posts,
yeah,
longer.
yeah, yes, there is a way to actually become to post something as a blog or an article.
Mm.
And then so what you do is there's a way to post an article on LinkedIn, but then you as the author link to that article and post it as a post on LinkedIn.
Mm.
And then your team, then your connections go and then read the article, and then ideally they repost it. And so there is a way to do that. It's again a lot more from a business perspective. So that
Yeah.
tool is really more of a business tool.
Yeah.
But I have several articles on there, and I'm going to be adding several more over time. Thing is, people don't want to sit there and read a whole article. They want to know that an article exists in the post,
Yeah.
and then if it's interesting, they'll go read it. And that I'm okay with that. I mean, it works.
Yeah. So I have a blog on my website, and if I was going to, like, for example, I have a post that's like, you know, gear recommendations, right? Just what you need, and there's links in there so people can just go there and get lights and tripods and everything. So if I have that already on my website, would I just do what you just described and make that like an article on LinkedIn?
Yeah, yeah. I think you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you just take that and make it a post on LinkedIn, and it goes there.
Yeah, or like I do my email newsletters every Tuesday. So I could probably just like take a snippet of the newsletter and post it in LinkedIn and say, hey, if you like these, sign up to get this to your inbox. Would that
Yeah,
be acceptable?
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Well,
just all you need to do is think about. Sorry, think about it, like the big difference is think about it from a business perspective or business person to business person perspective. What are they going to want to see versus any other social media platform where it could be just, a mom or a kid or whatever.
yeah.
So that's the only difference.
Okay. Let's see. Honestly, that's kind of all my questions. I mean, do you have anything that we didn't cover that you really feel like people need to know?
No, I think we have covered everything. I guess I would just end with the idea that think of from a business perspective, from your perspective, right? As a business owner, you are still an individual on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
but your brand is you as a social media manager or social media
Right.
expert. So all you're doing is branding yourself as that social media expert,
Mm-hmm.
and that's don't forget to do that. You've done it well, right? And but a lot of people think that what they've done is they've branded themselves as my client, for instance, right? He thought he had really had written a clear story because he had done a lot of different things. The point is in his case, we needed to brand him as an expert in one thing,
Right.
and we did that, and so that made a big difference. So don't think remember that it's a great place to ideally to brand yourself. That gets people's attention.
Okay. All right, Floyd. Well, I appreciate your time. If anybody is still watching this, it's just go follow Floyd. Thank you for following me if you're from another account, from Floyd's account. Floyd is a career coach and he specializes with college graduates and young professionals. Is that right, Floyd? Yeah.
Yep. I've really doubled down on the college graduates. I just realized that these kids that are kids, I hate doing that. Uh, these young people who are graduating from college, they are jumping into a 6.8% unemployment rate, which is astronomically high for for graduates. And they really need to stand out. And I thought it's really unfair that there aren't any coaches out there for young college graduates. They can't pay a ton of money, and I get that, right? So my price point is where they can afford to pay. But it makes a world of difference. All my clients that have used me in the college graduate program are working within 2-3 months and making the top dollar that they were looking to make. And so it makes a big difference. And I've really started focusing more on that. But I do work with people who are trying to transition to something else.
No, actually, since I was editing all your launch videos, towards the end of the end of your launch for that group coaching one that you just did, you were talking about, you know, like don't colleges offer this for their graduates, like helping them get a job? And that was one of the common questions that people had. And I honestly felt kind of this like deep seed of like regret when I was watching it. And because, you know, I graduated college, you know, 10 years ago now, and I went off traveling. But you were talking, I didn't go to the career fair. I was like, no, I gotta go. And I'm glad I did that, of course. But when I came back, I was underemployed. And I didn't really know that was a term. You know, I waited tables because I applied for so many project management jobs. You know, my degree for a long time, I was studying manufacturing and supply chain management and business and cultural anthropology. So I had like a good resume. I had the experience and I had the degree. And I remember just hearing you talking about like people being underemployed and taking jobs that they were never qualified, like they didn't even need their college degree for. And so it was my entire 20s, like waiting tables and trying to be a professional, but just never really getting anywhere and having 2 conversations with my jobs and my employers about like working my way up and moving up. And then I got super serious once I had a kid because I was like, this is not cute anymore. I feel like this struggling single mom, and I'm like, all these things. And I just remember hearing that. I'm like, dang it, if I would have called Floyd 10 years ago when I graduated, like, who knows where I would have been. And that's neither here nor there. You know, I'm really grateful for where I am.
Well, but that's a good point, right? I mean, and it's really what I'm doing. First of all, I want to say hi to Annie. One of my followers is on. So hi, Annie. Thanks for joining us. And Annie's actually joining us from Panama.
Wow.
So the country of Panama. So yeah, I have followers all over the world. I'm a lucky guy. But anyway, thanks, Annie, for joining us. But that's the point. Is it should be affordable for people who really are driven and really want to make a difference in the world. They should have an affordable option for real legitimate help. And I'm building the business. I definitely could use more clients. But I enjoy doing that. I enjoy helping people do that. And yes, if everything had been different, way back in the day, that would have been fine. But that's what happens is it didn't happen. So what did happen though is you just got to a place where you said, look, I'm going to own this future of mine, and you work to make it happen. And that's what everybody has the option to do, no matter how old you are. You can sit there and whine and complain about, oh, things are tough. Or you can say, things are tough. I wonder if I could get somebody that could help me. Oh, and then together we work to make it happen. And I'm passionate about that.
I just, I really thought that, okay, I went to college, I spent my whole childhood getting good grades so I could go to college. So I get to college, I get the degree, and I just was like so disappointed because I was like, why? Like, I'm applying for jobs. Like, I have the degree. Like, why? And I just didn't understand. I didn't realize that there was so much more to be done. So, actually, one more thing. One thing that you taught me about LinkedIn that I haven't done, but I think would be a really good idea, would a way to connect more, to make more connections. You were saying like go into LinkedIn, type in your alma mater, the college you went to, and see who, I don't know, use the people that went there to make connections. So Tell us about that because I really want to make friends and influence people.
Yeah. So I mean, think about it, right? And the premise comes from how much money did you spend at college, right? And it was pretty close to $1 bajillion,
$1 billion.
or
Yeah.
maybe half a bajillion. But anyways, it's a ton of money, right? And so, and then as soon as you graduate, and this is the thinking process behind it, as soon as you graduate, I mean, literally, as you're stepping off the stage, the alma mater group is handing you a piece of paper that says, "Hey, continue to remain a